Apparently covenantly is
I'm quiet.
covenantly is a made up word to sing. Doesn't like it.
Yeah,
Where?
Or heavenly.
yeah, I'm not spelling that right somehow.
Josh is out of town.
Yeah, he's out there with a tree with all the youth.
Over here?
Yeah, it was just our church, so it seems to be going well.
I found pictures of it that look.
It's goodbye Lake Tingle.
Yeah. They're camping?
Kind of, yeah, they're in a cabin. Sort of. A cabin.
Well, we are.
Because of that.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Well, there was a football game last night.
It was late.
That's half our class.
Yep.
Well, it is the Jankowskis and Evanses. The Kevin and Ray don't come anymore.
Because they took on more of.
I don't know. Nikki is hit or miss anyway. What?
I was told the reason why Kevin and Renee don't come anymore is because they took on more of the greeting
Well,
responsibility.
yeah,
It's just very hard for them to.
yeah.
They,
Daniel's running them ragged.
Like everyone.
Yeah.
We need to volunteer.
For Thanksgiving. All right, I'm this, but
No, we're doing the Amish though, do we?
Julie's gonna take care of that.
Well, she's not here, so we don't know.
right.
I don't know where she is.
Will be next week.
No.
She's not here. She can't tell us. about
She
it.
can't tell us about it, right? Yeah, so Poppy, since you are in town, more or less, we're gonna be doing an Amish dinner.
Okay,
And just I'm imagine Julie will get a hold of you. If she
Okay.
won't, Janie certainly will.
okay.
What?
If it ever happens.
Eh,
It's great. It's like, what is it? It's just never gonna happen. It's like not a blue moon. It's past a blue moon because we've been talking about it for 3 years now and it still has not happened. That's why we think that this is the seeing a, what do you call it? I'm trying to come up with the word now.
The magic pumpkin or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Linus is,
It's
what's,
just never gonna happen. It's like,
what's the pumpkin in Linus? The great pumpkin. In peanuts.
it's like we're waiting for the second coming of Christ. It's never, you just never know.
It's right there.
Something called.
Thank you.
We're just talking about you.
But see, now you wouldn't be allowed to be there. If you feel.
I may have to move back over.
You guys, one of the laws, your little like.
We're all on this side.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't even have to turn his head. It's awesome. Okay. I'll go through it.
Are you all right? It was late. Well, I was asking Jane. Her voice sounded like that. You lost your voice? That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
At least you guys won.
It's really rough. It's like because we yelled so much.
Well, you won too, did you
Good
not?
job.
Thank you.
I was even lost.
How'd your son do?
It was embarrassing. I'm sorry.
It was, I didn't even watch it.
It was-
At a different game.
We stopped watching.
And
because it was so bad.
embarrassment, because I was like, man, we lost you guys last week and now we,
Yes.
you know what I'm trying to say? It was that second hand, like, man.
It was.
We really
They lost
lost.
and we lost to them, so.
So did your son,
How do you do this?
did they beat Jinx?
They beat me
So-
19-6.
It was bad.
You survived the season and he won.
Oh, it did well.
So he done?
The two stars.
They were done with
held on
football,
pretty
yes.
good.
Yes.
That was a tough team.
And you were filled with the spirit on the Lord's day.
Thank you for doing that, Jane. I got pulled
Now,
earlier this week.
you guys aren't here, so it doesn't apply to you. But we have breakfast sign up there now. And so far, only Matt and I have signed up.
That is incorrect.
We did too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there, John.
Yeah, good.
Show.
Prove me wrong. That's what we like.
So there's.
Meanwhile, back on the ranch, we are in Hebrews chapter 11. And I'm sharing my screen. I'm recording. I think life is good.
Good, we got all this premium.
Yes. Well, they'll know that they're part of a class. Rick and Lori will feel even more at home. Poppy too, yeah. Hey, where are your parents? You have to tell them they were missed.
Next weekend. Are we gonna have Sunday school the next 2 weeks?
Why wouldn't we?
Thanksgiving.
Well, that's what I was wondering. That's why I was asking. I'm gonna be here because it's Sunday morning. I'm at church. I'm just that good. And you're not going back to California for Thanksgiving, are you?
No, I'm leaving the 13th.
Where are you going?
Going to California.
So you are,
No, 13th of December,
oh,
yes.
for Christmas break.
Yeah.
How long will you be gone?
Probably until the 7th or 8th.
Oh, well, good for you. Tell your parents hi for us. I've still not met them.
I know.
That's my fault. Yeah, it happens. So let's pick up in verse 18, even though we left off at 20. So why is this chapter here? Now I know that's why First Chronicles 1-9 there. I yelled at God at 3:00 in the morning. Why? Why is this here? It's nothing but names. Literally nothing but names. But for this very reason, even we, having so great a cloud of witnesses. His whole point is you're wanting to go back to Torah when what we do.
Yeah. Did you skip ahead?
Really? Did you write it down wrong?
No, I said 11.
Was that right? Oh,
It makes sense because it's the start and it was like in the middle of.
well, 11:20 we're at the end.
11:20 is where we were ready to start.
Okay, my bad. I don't know what we do. I just hear.
We just rolled with it.
We just go.
We still don't know what the chapter is.
So now I don't know why this, I don't even know where we are. Kenny, you gotta save me, read. Start in verse 20 is apparently where we're at.
By faith also concerning things about to be, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau. By faith, Jacob dying blessed each of the sons of Joseph and prostrated himself over the tip of his staff. By faith, Joseph, coming to the end, mentioned concerning the exodus of the sons of Israel and gave orders concerning his bones. By faith, Moses, after being born, was hidden 3 months by his parents because they saw the beautiful child and were not afraid of the edict of the king.
Let's pause. You were obviously yelling yesterday. Would you pick up Alexander, please?
Oh, sure.
We gotta save his voice.
I can do that.
You're reading very well, but you sound like your throat's been karate chopped. So
If you do what I said the first time, then I wouldn't have to yell so much.
Yes.
the team or the refs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got you back. I'll clean up. By faith, Moses, after being born, was hidden 3 months by.
What?
Oh, wait, where was, I thought we were at the start of it. Sorry. 24. Okay, sorry. By faith, Moses, after becoming big, refused to be spoken of as the son of the daughter of the Pharaoh, but rather chose to be mistreated with the people of God than to have sin temporary pleasure.
I don't know what I was thinking when I did that. I'll do that.
That does make sense. Considering the abuse of Christ to be greater wealth than the Egyptian treasure.
What in the world is he talking about?
To have a life of luxury and he chose not to.
The abuse of Christ, Moses?
Yeah.
Well, he's certainly not conscious of it. Abuse of Christ?
I mean, because he wouldn't have known.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Considering the abuse of, even if you go with Messiah, with the abuse of the Messiah, things that make you go, that's an interesting way to put it, is what I'm pointing out. Our authors putting it. You're certainly not gonna find that in Exodus. It's
That like kingdom come.
it's the full implications would be our author saying that Moses was well aware. Well, look, we know that God has said a Messiah is coming. That's the thing we did back in Genesis 3 with that verse, with the first gospel. And I'll put enmity between your seed and her seed, talking to the serpent. So there's a coming figure. And at the end, remember Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob prophesies over all his sons. And we learn that out of Jacob will come the coming king. But that's what he calls him, the coming king. And the abuse of Christ, there's no hint that he's going to be abused. So I find this thing odd. I'm not obviously saying it's wrong, but I just find it odd. Our author is saying something, and I don't know exactly what it is.
I mean, Moses did commune with God at the top of Mount Sinai, so there is that certain amount of wondering if, if he's talking to an infinite being, what is actually going on.
How does that translate to abuse of Christ, though?
Maybe he knew more than,
Yeah, I mean, you go, and by the way, but we have no hint of that.
I know.
This is your translation, right?
No, I'm translating this now because I want to make sure I understand.
Yeah, so the reason I'm asking is because
Now you're gonna make me check it.
turn of phrase, and I was just wondering how, if there are other.
It's not in the NIV. He chose to be mistreated along with the people of God rather than enjoying the fleeting pleasures of sin according to NIV. It is in the English. Oh, it is the next, okay,
What verse did I just say?
26.
Hebrews 11.
Yeah, he regarded the disgrace, he regarded disgrace for the sake of Christ as greater value than the treasures of Egypt.
There we go.
He was looking ahead to his reward. Yeah, it is all in there. It is interesting.
Disgrace, abuse, whatever. Well, here's the word:
And it's,
act of disparagement, reproach, reviling, disgrace, insult. So you get the idea.
The
And-
NRSV says he considered abuse suffered for the Christ.
Abuse suffered for Christ. And what we have is, but it's just that the form. Remember, I told you how Greek works? We get those little codes at the end. This little code right here, those two letters. And it even looks like an OU to English, but that OU symbol is of. That's all that means, of. So the abuse, the disgrace of the Christ.
New Living says, for he was looking ahead to his great reward. So there's a certain, is there a looking, is something that,
That's the next phrase.
but there is that, the forward motion and the,
For he was looking forward to the reward. Yeah. That should be the Christ, though.
I mean, it would make sense.
Well, the author here would have known about Christ all this.
Well, yes.
And that's also.
Well, he's making reference to something that he knows about. But how would Moses know about it? Or rather chose to be mistreated, considering the abuse of the Messiah to be greater wealth to be suffered along with. That'd be the idea. But he's looking forward to the reward. Okay. 27, who's reading? Alexander.
By faith he left Egypt, not fearing the anger of the king, for he endured, as it were, seeing the invisible.
You on?
By faith he did the Passover and the sprinkling of the blood, in order that the destroyer of the firstborn would not touch them.
And we're I'm doing so much reading right now. Oh, I just did it in the class I'm teaching the Pakistanis on Zoom. And we just did that. That's awful familiar. So yeah, that story in Exodus 13. Yeah, keep going.
By faith they crossed the Red Sea as through dry land, but the Egyptians making the attempt were drowned.
So what's he doing here? It's this faith thing, right?
In my Bible, I don't know when I did this, but I've got squares around all of these names. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, the people of Israel. He's given us examples of
Yeah.
what faith should be.
Okay, verse 30.
By faith the walls of Jericho fell after going around them for 7 days. By faith Rahab the prostitute was not co-destroyed with the disobedient after receiving the spies with peace.
She survived, remember? We spared her by faith. A non-Israelite, which is germane to the Christian communion, since we open the doors, as it were. You're doing well. Keep going.
And what else will I say? For time would fail me while giving a detailed account concerning Gideon, Barak, Samson,
Jephthah.
David, and also Samuel, and of the prophets, who through faith conquered kingdoms, performed covenant compliance,
Which is righteousness. And I actually have a footnote here. Or carried out justice. It could be rendered a different way.
obtained promises, shut the mouths of lions, extinguished the power of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, were strengthened from weakness, became mighty in war, routed foreign armies.
Man, I apologize, but the shut the mouth of the lions is a very interesting one to me because they are not mentioning Daniel on that list, and yet that's Daniel.
Yeah, presumably, yes. So. Yeah,
The what?
Shadrach, Meshach, and
Daniel, the book of, if it certainly could be those. Keep going. 35.
Women received back their dead by resurrection, but some were tortured, not accepting release, so that they might receive a better resurrection. But others experienced mocking and scourging, and even chained in prison. They were stoned, they were sawed in two, they died by murder of the sword, they went about in sheepskins and the skins of goats. They were in need, oppressed, mistreated, of whom the world was not worthy, wandering in the desert and mountains and caves and holes of the earth. And these all were testified to through faith that they did not receive the promised thing.
The promise was yet to come, but they held out. Contrasting this with his readers is what he's doing, of course. Continuing.
God, having provided something better for us, that they would not be made perfect without it.
We're going to do it together. What's the idea? Huh. So,
Quick reminder of Barak and Jephthah. I don't remember those.
Deborah and Barak. Judges 6? No, that's Yael, but it's around there. Where, well, that leads to the Yael story, it's Deborah and Barak. So the deliverance of Israel. Barak, Jephthah, I don't remember off the top of my head.
I think that some of those were named and then others were talking about what happened.
Right.
Opposed to that, so it's.
Yeah, it is an interesting.
It's a combination. They're like, well, we're named some, and then we'll just.
Yeah, well, she just wants to know the story, that's all. But I don't remember
No,
Jephthah.
I mean, I think that's why they were done differently.
Okay,
Just.
Yeah.
Instead of having all the names like you complain about it.
I just feel better that because I'm not the only one that doesn't remember this.
There's a lot of stuff.
there's a lot. What'd you find for Jephthah?
He appears in the book of Judges as a judge who provided over Israel for a period of 6 years in 12:7 of Judges. According to Judges, he lived in Gilead. His father's name was also given as Gilead, and his mother is described as a prostitute. This may indicate that his father might have been any of the men in that area. Jephthah led the Israelites in battle against Ammon, and in exchange for defeating the Ammonites, made a vow to sacrifice whatever would come out of the door of his house first. When his daughter was first out of he immediately read the vow which bound him to sacrifice his daughter to God.
Idiot.
Yeah.
So,
That is correct. That's probably the reason why we don't really like to think of that particular story, because that's kind of grody. And I mean, kind of is, small enough.
I'm not gonna sacrifice Stephanie.
Well, it's
Sorry.
because it's like the opposite of. Yes, but Abraham, if he was going to sacrifice Isaac, they stopped him, and yes, he didn't stop.
Probably because it was a stupid vow. I mean.
Well, yeah, God told Abraham to sacrifice Isaac. Jephthah did this on his own.
He just was like, cool, I'm so geared up from battle that I'll be like, run my mouth like an idiot.
He just assumed a goat would run out, not his daughter. All right, chapter 12. Daniel, because we're sparing their throats.
Understood. For that very reason, even we, having so great a cloud of witnesses surrounding us, throwing off every impediment and easily ensnaring sin, let us run with endurance the race lying before us. Eyes locked on Jesus, the starter and finisher of our faith, who because of the joy lying before him, despising the shame, endured the cross, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God.
Okay. Yeah, it is. I'm getting insight into something. How does enduring the race team up with enter into the rest? That's chapter 4, remember? There's a rest for us. Let's enter into the rest. Quit struggling with the law. Enter into the rest. And yet here he's saying, run the race. What's the difference? I had lunch with my friend Jeff Lamb, who is a New Testament professor at ORU, my former colleague. And we go to Margaret's at the farm and we eat goulash on Friday. And we typically stay about 3 hours, which is what we did, a little over 3 hours. And we talked about this. I said, make every effort to enter into the race. And we just laughed. Yeah, that's kind of a contradiction. And now it's kind of dawning on me what's going on. Some people want to read that as you got to try your best to be holy. If you're not giving every effort, even if you don't want to talk about white knuckling, but you got to at least give an effort. That's not what he's talking about. What he's talking about here is enduring. To be a Christian has certain costs, is what he's pointing out. Persecution. I mean, lying, well, we just read them, right? Fire, getting sodden to, all this stuff. Are we putting up with that? No, he says, run this race that Jesus laid before you of enduring the persecution, your eyes locked on Jesus. So when they stop laughing off your fingers or pulling out your fingernails or doing whatever torture they have for you, keep your eyes on Jesus and enter into the rest. Despising the shame, he endured the cross. And look what it got him. He sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Who's reading? Verse 3.
For consider the one who endured such hostility toward himself by sinners, so that you may not grow weary in your souls, giving up. Not yet to the point of blood have you resisted, struggling against sin, and you have utterly forgotten the exhortation which addresses you as sons. My son, do not think lightly of the discipline of the Lord, nor grow weary, being corrected by him. For him whom the Lord loves, he disciplines. He punishes every son whom he accepts. For discipline you are enduring. God is treating you as sons. For what son does a father not discipline? But if you are without discipline, of which all have become sharers, then you are bastards and not sons. Furthermore, we had discipliners, the fathers of our flesh.
By the way, that's in King James too. I made sure. It wasn't just because I'm prone to certain license when I translate. I'm not alone in this. Go ahead.
We respected them.
Where are we? Why don't you just start at verse 9?
Furthermore, we had discipliners, the fathers of our flesh, and we respected them. Shall we not be much more subject to the Father of the spirits and live? For they disciplined us for a few days as it seemed good to them, but he for our good, for us to share in his holiness. But all discipline for the present moment does not seem to be a joy, but a pain. But later it yields peaceful fruit of covenant compliance to those who have been trained through it.
Okay. All right.
So discipline doesn't feel good, but it's good for you.
Right.
Therefore,
All right.
Therefore, strengthen the slack hands and the weak knees, and make straight paths for your feet, in order that the lame ankle may not be turned, but rather healed. Seek peace with all and holiness, without which no one will see the Lord. Seeing to it that no one is falling short of the grace of God.
Wait. Grace is what?
The grace of God.
It's a free gift, right? And yet, see to it that no one is falling short of it. There's this mixed message here. A free gift, but don't fall short of the free gift. So you have to receive the free gift at the very least.
Is that acceptance or?
It's something to think about.
I like looking gift horse in the mouth.
Well, no, it's the here and then you just not take it. And no root of bitterness.
Growing up should cause trouble, and through it many be defiled. That there be no sexually immoral or profane person like Esau, who for a single meal sold his birthright.
That's a heck of a sentence. I mean, a sexually immoral profane person like Esau. That'd be a heck of a thing. Oops. 17.
For you know that also afterwards, wanting to inherit the blessing, he was rejected, for he did not find place for repentance, although he sought it with tears. For you did not come to a thing to be touched, to a burning fire, to darkness, to gloom, and to wind storm.
Stuff that these guys all saw.
I'm
Okay.
not sure about the to wind storm.
Sure. Elijah?
No, the phrasing is confusing. Unless I'm confused.
You're not coming to a windstorm. You're not coming to gloom. Okay.
What's the grammar?
I was just confused. It's
That's fine. If that makes it easier,
great.
I can stick in an indefinite article, not a
Thank
problem.
To the trumpet sound, to the sound of words, the hearers of which begged not a word be added to them. For they could not bear that which was commanded. And if the beast should touch the mountain, he shall be stoned. And that which appeared was so fearful, Moses said, I am terrified and trembled. But you have come to Mount Zion, and to the city of the living God, to heavenly Jerusalem, and to myriads of angels, to a joyful gathering, and to the assembly of the firstborn recorded in the heavenly.
How do you spell heavenlies?
Looks right to me.
It looks like to me, I just think this dictionary doesn't know the word.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave it alone. Go ahead.
And to the judge, the God of all, and to the spirits of the covenantly compliant made perfect, and to the mediator of a new covenant, Jesus, and to the sprinkled blood speaking a better thing than Abel.
You've come to Mount Zion. You come to everything about this. It's so much superior to the first. And yet these guys endured all this for the first. And not only that, they didn't even get to see it. It was all in the future for them. And surely you can do the same. Things that make you go,
See to it that you do not refuse the one speaking. For if they did not escape after refusing the one who warns on the earth, how much less will we who reject the one from the heavenlies? Then his voice shook the earth, but now he has promised, saying, yet once more I myself will shake not only the earth, but also the sky. But this phrase, yet once more, indicates the transformation of the shaken things, that is, the made things, in order that the things not shaken might remain. Therefore, receiving an unshakable kingdom, let us have thanks, in which let us worship in an acceptable way God with reverence and awe, for indeed our God is a consuming fire.
so we're receiving permanent things, not shaking things. All right. We've only got one chapter left. Let's do it.
Unshaken.
Because the judgment's coming. Everything's going to be shaken. All right. Shauna.
Brotherly love must remain. Do not neglect hospitality, for through this some have received angels as guests without knowing it. Remember the prisoner as if you were co-prisoners, the mistreated as also they are in the body. Marriage must be honored among all, and the marriage bed undefiled, for God will judge sexually immoral and adulterous people. Your lifestyle must be free of the love of money. Be content with what one has. For he has said, I will never leave you nor abandon you, so that we may be confident to say, the Lord is a helper to me, and I will not be afraid. What will a man do to me? Remember the leaders, whoever spoke to you the word of God, examining carefully the outcome of their conduct, imitate their faith. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Do not be carried away by all kinds of strange teachings, for it is good for the heart to be strengthened by grace, not by foods, which never benefited those who comported
Yes.
themselves in them. We have an altar from which those,
Dietary laws is what he's talking about here.
okay. Like don't eat,
Right.
right. We have an altar from which those serving in the tent do not have authority to eat. For the bodies of these animals whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest concerning sin are burned outside the camp. Therefore, also Jesus, in order that he might sanctify the people through his blood, suffered outside the gate. Therefore, let us go out to him.
What did sanctify mean?
Ones.
Make holy. Make holy. Okay. Which includes purification and also separation under the use of God. But this is that holiness thing. In order that he might make holy the people, make the people holy through his blood, suffered outside the gate. Therefore,
Let us go out to him outside the camp, bearing his abuse. For we do not have here a lasting city, but we are looking for the one about to be. Through him, therefore, let us offer up a sacrifice of praise continually to God, that is fruit of lips confessing his name. Let us not neglect the doing of good and fellowship, for by such sacrifices as these is God pleased.
so a good game of Uno, he's cool with that.
Obey your leaders and submit, For they are keeping watch over your souls as those who will give an account, in order that with joy they may do this and not complaining, for this would be unprofitable for you. Pray for us, for we are persuaded that we have a good conscience, wishing to conduct ourselves well in all things. But all the more I urge you to do this, in order that soon I may be brought back to you.
We don't know who he is.
But he's writing to
A group.
Okay. But the God of peace, who brought back from the dead the great shepherd of the sheep by the blood of the eternal covenant, our Lord Jesus, may he equip you in every good thing to do his will, doing in us that which is pleasing before him through Jesus Christ, to whom be the glory forever and ever. Amen. I urge you, brothers, put up with my word of exhortation, for in fact I wrote you briefly. Know that our brother Timothy has been released, with whom if he comes soon, I will see you. Greet all your leaders and all the saints. Those from Italy greet you. Grace be with all of you.
Now, that would be one that would support Pauline authorship. Other stuff would not. So it's all over the place. All right.
Seems like some clues there at the end.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
What?
Some clues.
Yeah,
And
I have got to go to the bathroom. I'm going to die. I might be overstating it. We're right back.
Sunday. That's,
Her name.
oh, you've never been?
No,
Okay. He preached on holiness.
okay.
Right, BRA. ETOA.
you almost made me wonder if you were the other brands, but it's different.
And also, California,
That whole thing.
Yeah. my
You
dad-
never know. I don't know where they're from.
there you go. My dad, he family law, was attorney. One of his clients said to him one time, I don't know how you do it all. That do all what? He said, well, you're a divorce attorney here in Riverside, and you're chief of police in LA. My dad looked at me and said, well, it's easy. I'm not the police chief of LA.
Oh, that's funny.
That does make it easier.
Yes, not being two people.
Indeed.
Mhm. Just because I have the same name does not mean I'm the same person.
I loved it because my sixth graders down in Texas would try to look me up, because that's what middle schoolers and high schoolers do. They want to get anything that they can
Oh.
on you. And so they look up Shauna Flat, and it's like some old realtor down in Florida. So I'm like, nothing of mine shows up. It's great. Yes, I'm an old lady in Florida.
Okay, so next week, we're going to start our study of the prophets. That's going to take a while. Just FYI.
You're ready.
I will probably do it chronologically. So probably Amos. But we'll figure all that next week. I'll make up my mind. But probably. But we're going to read through them all. So we do Micah, Isaiah, Amos, Hosea are the 8th century prophets. Isaiah is only 66 chapters. How long will that take us?
66 weeks, you know it.
Well, we a little faster than that.
Oh,
But it took us a little, well, we're not afraid of big projects. Let's just bite off more than we can chew.
You thought Hebrews was gonna take longer than this, right?
Yeah, well, we zipped through it at the end. I also have much more to say about the prophets. Hebrews, I'm not a New Testament guy. And so I do the best I can.
We're gonna read your translations.
No, I am not translating the Bible for you. No, I've done a few of them. Yeah, you'll have the Hebrew up there and I'll look at it. And I'll point out where stuff's different.
He does it in real time.
Okay, we get the real time. There you go. Okay.
And you weren't there when we did this on Thursday night. We were doing something about the prophetic introductions. I went through and read them. I had my Hebrew Bible there and flipped through it and read them. Charles. Have you met Charles yet? Have you? You've only been once, right? The Catholic guy. And he was just going, you were reading it faster in Hebrew than I could in the English. I said, well, it's a little simple, but it was, even I was impressed. That was pretty good. But it was easy stuff. So,
Tell yourself a little bit more on the back.
yeah, exactly. It hurt my shoulder.
Do you have friends over in Israel that you're so connected with?
Yes.
What do they think?
It's really isolated to Gaza. So they don't live down there. My friends live up in Haifa. So then, and the others are digging up by the Sea of Galilee, and they're not going through it. So
They were concerned about anything.
not that they've shared. All right. So what? Good. We have any prayer requests?
My brother, or
Your
my
brother,
brother's long-term girlfriend is having surgery for breast cancer on the sometime near future. I don't know